Good morning, Americans. This is your favorite alien. Today, on Monday, September 4th, 2023, Labor Day. And on this Labor Day, which is supposed to be the end of summer, unofficial that is, and you can't wear white after Labor Day, I'm doing a special commentary on your election for U.S. presidency policy. And I'm neither pro-Trump, anti-Trump, pro-Biden, or anti-Biden. This is just an alien from another planet telling you your problems with your governing system. And one of them is policy. We rely on policy in my federation. Not politics, but policy. And here's a good example of why politics and policy should not mix. In 2020, President Biden ran on a platform that said that he was going to eliminate fossil fuels, i.e. oil, and put in other alternatives. So he said. The only problem with that was there was no alternative to oil. There still isn't. Almost 4 years later. Wow. What President Biden did is he shut down oil instead of coming in with a policy. And he had no replacement for oil. Okay? You people who have bought electric cars, can you go more than 300 miles? Do you have a system in place that you have like gas stations for gas-operated vehicles that'll be there for you in 300 miles, and then you have to stop for as many hours or a whole day to get your car recharged and continue for another 300 miles? Whereas a gas-operated vehicle can go 300 miles on a tank of gas, refill, and go another 300. So it can go approximately 600 to 700 miles a day. Because you got to account for the driver. Or if you have two drivers in there, you can go 12 to 1400 miles. So that means you can make it from Tampa to Detroit in 12 to 14 hours. Okay? And that's a good, 1,200 to 1,300 miles from Tampa to Detroit. So this is what I'm saying about policy. The policy that Mr. Biden should have done. And I agree that oil is on the way out. It should have been gone a long time ago. That's not the problem here. It's policy. Trump doesn't have any policy either. It's not that I'm saying, oh yeah, Trump's thing is better. No, I'm saying that policy. And I'm using President Biden because he's the one that implemented the policy. Trump never implemented any policy. All he had is, we're going to build a wall, but he had no policy on how to do it. We're going to eliminate immigration. We had no policy on how to do that. We still don't. See what I mean? Look at your turn of the century from the 19th to the 20th century. You know that horses were on the way out. Internal combustion systems, both electric and gas and oil, petroleum operated systems, were on the way. Electric cars were ahead of the petroleum cars. You had electric cars as early as 1900. Petroleum cars they had all kinds of problems. And to establish a policy for both cars, you had one thing missing: roads. And neither one of them could travel to the United States coast to coast because there was no system available for them. That would be start 50 some years later with the interstate system. Okay? And that took a president to go outside his party, outside the American frame of reference, to set up the interstate system. And today, you need the interstate system. If you shut down the interstate system, you're in trouble. You shut down your rail system, you're in trouble. It was like the rail system 40 years before the cars in the 1860s when they finally set up coast-to-coast rail. But you didn't go any further than that. They said, okay, this is as far as we go, and here it is, 2013, and the railroad system is still the same as it was back in the 1860s. Sure, you got better how would you say, locomotives that can go faster, and they're going faster, and you got some that are going even faster. But you have to establish new rail lines for them. They don't operate on the old rail system. It's like the interstate didn't operate on the old road system that you had. Sure, everybody talks about Route 66. Yeah, that was a good route, but it wasn't meant for high volume. Trains weren't meant for high volume. You need a special rail system that accommodate trains that can go 300 to 400 miles an hour. And of course, there's no such thing as 100% safety. But you're striving for it. You want to get 90 to 95 on the rail system. It's as good as you're going to get. If you can get to 97, then you're okay, but you're not going to get 100%. You're still going to have malfunctions and accidents and an occasional real bad accident. Same with your airplane system. And with Biden on the oil system here, what he should have done, Americans, was told you back in 2020, it's going to take a while for us to make us oilless and non-dependent on oil, both domestic and foreign. But we can't shut our domestic down because we still need the profits and money from domestic oil. We still need oil for our systems because we rely on it both on your electric grids, your train, and you still got using diesel trains, your cars. Sure, you got hybrids and now you got full-fledged electric, but you don't have a system for them. Just like you didn't have a system for cars, and they were supposed to replace horses and carriages. The carriage was doomed because the train was replacing some of that. And then the airplane came, and that doomed it even further. It doomed the shipping industry, didn't it? Yes. So you see, Americans, he should have had a policy say, oh, here it is, 2021, so we're going to make 2051 the sunset for oil. 30 years. But he didn't do it. Therefore, you got a problem that you can come out with. And you have a $31 trillion debt, which doesn't help the situation. Where's the policy? See what I mean? Can we rely on electric? No. Can we rely on solar cars? Well, no, because the sun only is 6 to 8 hours a day and 12 in some areas. Yeah. Okay, so you have to recharge the cell batteries. Yeah. You have to come up with more, and atomic is not the answer. Either fusion can help you in other things. Fission, you're going to have to eliminate. Atomic fission for my civilization was eliminated over almost 2 millennia ago. We went into fusion, then we went into antimatter. But you guys don't have a policy to do this. We had to. We had centuries of policies that we had to amend and re-amend because of the new technologies that we were finding. And we went down some bad roads that we had to realize, oh, we made a mistake here. Polaric energy was one of them. You guys are trying to find polaric energy right now, and you're going to find that that's a wrong way street. It can be dangerous. Take an explosion for polaric energy, to you scientists. Take the atomic bomb that you dropped on Hiroshima back in 1945 and multiply that by 10 million times. And that is the problem that you have with polaric energy. Antimatter is another example of it. That's why you use low antimatter in the planetary and high antimatter in space. My ancestors didn't realize that when they went into antimatter, and they thought that that was the answer to everything, like electric cars is what the answer to everything to you guys here. And what happened to them? 14 billion of them blew themselves up because they forgot that antimatter, if you go past containment, it blows off almost the entire solar system. And in case of you don't miss it, you just found it a few years ago, 4,000 light years away. There is an object that you haven't identified yet. It is actually an object made by antimatter after half the solar system got destroyed. But it's up to you, Americans. You need policy. And if you don't have it, you're going to end up the way of my ancestors, big time. What are you going to have? 8 to 10 billion of you getting blown up by your policies? Or look at the problem you're having with oil. You changed the policy without having anything to back it up. And you didn't put a 30-year plan there so you could have more than electric cars to back it up. Because the oil companies would have come into the electric system voluntary, or the solar system, or the antimatter system. Or you could use Mercury as a system of transportation. Your ancestors knew this, and your scientists can take Mercury and make it a levitating thing and go real fast, depending on how the temperature is. That's what you got to realize. You are starting to experiment with Mercury. That is a good in-between to oil and antimatter. Antimatter will make your civilization a lot better, but it's dangerous, and you got to know how to handle it. We've had antimatter for almost a millennia for us. We've had some major accidents, and my ancestors have. We had some minor accidents in my civilization. But we still strive to do better and learn from our mistakes, which you guys haven't. So like I said, this was a question on policy and politics. President Biden is using policy as politics, and that's not the way to go. Donald Trump is using policy, politics, and the people's fears against them. That's not the way to go either. You must develop a policy. Is it going to be 100% yippee for everybody on your nation of the United States or the planet of Earth? No. But try to get it to at least 95% to 97%. Policy accepted. This is your favorite alien saying, you do that, you avoid extinction. You don't do that, you're going to be extinct in 40 years. This is your favorite alien. Good day.